Hi, folks. How are you this morning? It's amazing how intuition and expectation can lead to things happening for you. So I'm going to tell you about Dr. Susan Jeffords' experience, and then I'll tell you about one of my experiences, which was completely out of the blue, but I expected it, and it's quite, and it goes in line with what we're talking about here. Our intuition is always operating for us. Usually, however, we don't act on it. When I made the conscious decision, this is Dr. Susan Jeffords, to start acting on thoughts that were coming through my head, amazing coincidences began to occur. Her original fear class came about as a result of her intuition. At the time, she had a vague notion that one day in the future, she wanted to teach a course on fear. So she put off indefinitely, largely because she was too busy with other things to write up the course description and outline and then find a school that would want to teach the course. It seemed like a lot of work for her. So one day she sat at her desk working. A strong message came to mind. It said, "Go to the new school." Morning, Alana. She couldn't figure out why this message came into her head. She never attended the new school for social research before, and she knew no one there. In fact, she didn't even know where it was. Out of curiosity, she decided to go. She told her secretary she was going to the new school, and she asked why. She says, "Well, I don't really know." She looked at me strangely as she walked out the door. So she got into a taxi that delivered her right to the door of the new school. Then she walked into the lobby and she started asking herself, well, what should I do now? She saw the directory and looked at various departments listed, and her eye caught human relations. There is where I'm supposed to go, she thought to herself. Her mind reasoned that she was probably sent here to sign up for a great workshop that they had on offer for her. And she was addicted to workshops at that time. Some people are addicted. Some people are serial functioning workshop goers. They actually love going to all these events, but they never actually put anything into practice. But that's another story. The idea of teaching at the new school didn't occur to her. She found that the door marked Human Relations Department, and then she walked inside. No one was at the reception desk, and she looked through the door on the right and saw a woman sitting at her desk. She called out, "Can I help you?" Intuitively, without thinking about it, she surprised herself by saying, "I'm here to teach the course on overcoming fear." And without realizing it, she was talking to the head of the department, a wonderful woman named Ruth Van Doren. Morning, Margaret. She looked at me with amazement and finally blurted out, "I can't believe that. I've been searching high and low for someone to teach this course on fear, and I haven't been able to find anyone at all. And today is my deadline. All catalogue descriptions must be in today." She inquired about her credentials and was pleased with them. Then she told her that she had to run to catch a bus, and asked her to quickly write up a course description with a course title. And she did. She handed it to her secretary and ran out the door, thankfully and thanking me profusely. After she left, she stood in a state of shock. She had no conscious intention, morning, Deborah, of proposing a course that day, and what she had imagined would have been an arduous task, taking months, took exactly 12 minutes. So Ruth Van Doren wanted something, she wanted something, and the universe put them together. How this works, I do not know. What I simply know is it works. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing that and she had consciously thought this through. She would never have approached a new school if she had consciously thought it through, and she wouldn't have gone to the Hunter College, where she was an undergraduate at school, or the Columbian University, where she had obtained her advanced degrees. She knew a lot of people in both places. The new school would not have entered her rational mind. So it's worth noting that teaching that course on the turning point in my life, my experience was so positive that it felt so right, that she decided to leave her job of 10 years and become an educator and a writer. And oh, by the way, you might have guessed the course title. She called it Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. This leads me to a personal story for me. I remember I always focused on, I wanted to be a company financial director by the time I was 30 years old. I wasn't sure how I was doing that, but I was completely focused on this. And I knew I was qualifying as an accountant anyway, but I was progressing throughout my career. And I was 29 years old, almost about to turn 30 years old, when in actual fact I had that split decision. I was offered a job with Bell Security, who was going to float the next year, and I was going to work right throughout the UK as their financial controller, or I went to see a wee business called Abloh Diagnostics in Glenrothes for a job as a finance manager. Do you know, when I walked out of that business, after being so focused on being a financial director, when I walked out of that business before I was 30 years old, I was offered the position of financial director after walking in the door for the position of finance manager. I don't know how that works, but if your mind believes it and you can conceive it, it will happen as a natural byproduct. I just know it works. I'm sure you've heard of even more dramatic examples of working of intuition. Lives being saved, people getting together despite tremendous odds, and other amazing happenings. The point is that we all have access to this intuitive power simply by stating and listening to the messages of the subconscious mind telling us. I suspect it works on instructions we have given it when we clearly are aware of what it's doing. We might have forgotten all about it, but the subconscious never forgets. In fact, it works better when we take our conscious mind off the issue and let it do the work for us without interference. That is why we get some of the most inspired ideas when we're relaxing or doing something other than the task that needs a solution. Simply start paying attention to what you're being told and then act on it. If the mind says, call so-and-so, call them. If it says, go here, go there, then go there. In the beginning, you may be confused about whether it's your intuition operating or your chatterbox or whatever. Just keep following the instructions and soon you'll be able to tell the difference. I mean, I'm at a point where I almost act on their seamlessly stray thoughts that enter into my mind because I know, and I'm amazed at the connections that I've made as a result of this. In Embracing Uncertainty, Dr. Susan Jeffers devotes an entire chapter to increasing the power of an intuitive part of who we are. Also, entire books on developing the intuitive mind are available. It is an area definitely worth investigating. So I've begun to rely so much on my subconscious mind that when I'm troubled by something, I simply say, ask my subconscious mind, and it will find a solution for me. I often say, I'm not really sure what the answer is, but leave it with me a couple of days, and it will come to mind. Then I stop worrying and thinking about it, and sometime, somehow, easily and effortlessly, the solution happens. A particularly effective time to do this is if you go off to sleep at night. Simply let go, turn over, and you'll probably sleep a lot better for the results. And the next day, you'll never know what's going to happen. And I'll see you tomorrow.